Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Robbie Rhino, and in today's video I'll be revisiting the FV214 Conqueror MK.2, which is a Western Alliance heavy tank in Era 2 of the Cold War game mode, and this was released last month and it was released with some pretty poor statistics. It was a lot worse than the FV214 and it still is, but pretty much everything is. And it was also pale in comparison to the Conqueror MK.1, which is the Tech Tree Era 2 Western Alliance British heavy tank. And apparently it was released with the incorrect statistics. They said that on a stream it was rushed slightly as the wheeled vehicle premium was pushed back, so they got this one out to make sure that there was some content going out, and unfortunately it was released with the incorrect statistics. But in the meantime it's been buffed, and although it was usable before, it's a lot better now, a lot more competitive. It still has the same issue, being that it's a tank that's in World War II, and it's relatively similar to the Conqueror MK.1, so it's a little bit of laziness in my opinion. Not awful laziness, but it could have been something unique. But it does fit with the sort of historical accuracies of the era, I suppose. And yeah, it's a very good tank. I've had some really nice games in it since it's been buffed. These are two really good games I've had that show off just what this thing is capable with the changes. So I'll run down the changes for you and then we'll talk about the gameplay in the background. So the changes that were made: it had a buff to its hit points. It went from 2,800 to 2,900 hit points, so it's now level with the Conqueror MK.1. It also had a change to its top speed, so it went from 35.4 to 43.5 kilometers an hour, which is 8.1 kilometers an hour better than the MK.1, so this goes a lot faster than the Tech Tree Conqueror MK.1. It also had some improvements to the gun. It had a 0.2 improvement on its accuracy from 0.34 to 0.32 accuracy, which means it's now running as the same as the Conqueror MK.1, and this is probably the only statistic that it's actually better than the FV214 in that its accuracy. It also had an improvement to its DPM. It went from 8.11 rounds a minute to 8.7 rounds a minute, which is a DPM increase from 3,244 to 3,480. So now the MK.2, the premium version, is 52 DPM better than the MK.1, which sits at 3,428. The reload obviously has been improved due to the DPM increase, so it went from 7.4 base reload to 6.9 seconds, which is 0.1 better than the Conqueror MK.1, and it had its rounds increased. It went from 35 rounds of ammunition, which was the major flaw in this tank in my opinion. It went all the way up to 50, which is the same as the Conqueror MK.1. So now it's a lot more competitive. You don't run out of shells as easily, and with this great DPM you are still capable of pushing these rounds out and having some pretty damn good games, and you'll see two of them in the background of this video. So in this first replay, as you can see, we are here on Vineyards, and I've taken this location in D8. It's a position that's extremely strong for sniping from. I appreciate I'm in a heavy tank, but this doesn't have the armor that the FV214 has, as we bounce off the FV214, and this has a fantastic accuracy, a very good sniping gun with fantastic shell velocity. The shell velocity on the APDS rounds are 1456 on the standard, 1491 on the premium, and it's a lot lower at 778 meters a second on the Hesh rounds. I carry purely the standard and premium APDS rounds, and you can still get through these rounds very quickly, even though it has increased to 50 rounds of ammunition. So you don't want to make too many chancey shots. You can make a few more than when it was first released. But yeah, for those longer sort of games and those games where you might have to carry, you might want to be a bit more thoughtful about what your or how many rounds you are firing. So far in this position, we've stuck in the stuck in the sort of 4 grid squares that are around D8, and now we're heading forward, going down towards the sort of middle of the map, heading into the town area. We've already picked up 5.8k damage, 918 assistance, and we've blocked 850. And that is something that is relatively unusual for this tank. You do get the occasional bounce, but it's nothing like the FV214, which is the gold standard in Era 2 for heavy tanks. That turret armour is almost impenetrable when you are sort of on a ridge line, and this is a lot easier to penetrate with the little sort of cupola on top. Having said that, you know, it's a smaller sort of turret, it's a smaller silhouette, so you might get away with actually avoiding the shells a little bit better than the FV214, but you still want to play that hold down gameplay. You want to be a little bit more reserved than you are in the FV214 if you have got that tank, and you will find that this tank will perform really well for you, and I actually really enjoy it. It's nothing special in terms of sort of its uniqueness. Obviously we've had the Conqueror in World War II for a long time, and the Super Conqueror till 10. Having said that, it's still a really good tank, and I can't sort of recommend it as a must-buy, but I can't sort of dissuade you from getting it now, as we get a ram kill to finish off that game, picking up 8.1k direct damage, 1300 assistance damage. We finish in MVP position with 3 kills, make 321,000 silver, and that's only a first class, showing how well people are playing this tank. So that's it for the first replay. We'll hop on into the second, and I'll talk about what I'm doing in that one, so see you there in a bit. So we're now into the second replay of the video, and we're here on Heilbronn. And for those of you that haven't seen my original review of this tank, which I will link above, I'll just run down my equipment and commander setup for you. So on my equipment, I run advanced loader, gun stabilizer, and I use a traction system to help me get to the battle just that little bit quicker, and the stabilizer and the loaders to help my DPM and accuracy. And on my commander, I run Sixth Sense, Born Leader, rapid loading, steady aim, rapid aim, snapshot, run and gun, situational awareness, and armor angling, improving my view range, gun handling, the armor angling because I'm a heavy tank and I want to take less damage, and Sixth Sense and Born Leader. As always, the first 2 skills that I choose on pretty much every commander build that I have made post 6.0. So in this game, I was hoping to get to the ridgeline where I am shooting that Centurion 9 on. However, the enemies have got to the battle quicker than I have, and that's what you'll find quite often with this tank. Even with a traction system and a mobility equipment, it's not as quick as some of the Eastern Alliance heavy tanks. Of course, all of the lights and the mediums are going to outrun you. The FV214 is slower like you, but it has more armor to withstand a bit more of a push, and you know, it's more forgiving in terms of its armor, which the Conqueror MK.2 isn't. But we found some hard cover here, and I'm just going to try and support my heavy tank directly in front of me. That tanks that are pushing in, trying to take him out. Unfortunately, we get shot by the FV214 in the distance there. We have to repair our ammo racks. We have to be a little bit careful now because we haven't got a repair kit for 50 more seconds. But as I've been talking, we've already picked up 2.7k direct damage and got 670 assistance, and with a 5.2 second reload, as you can see there, that's with my combat rations boosted. It doesn't take long for you to build up the damage, and as long as you can keep this gun singing, the damage numbers will go up and you will make a ton of silver with this tank and pretty much every premium in Cold War. So we're just gonna play around this hardcover here in this rock in front of me, getting shots into tanks where we can, using the third person sort of camera view to try and poke around and see where the enemies are firing from. I was hoping to get a little bit higher, but obviously we can't push any further than this at the moment. I have some tanks to sort of rear of me, but the south and the east of the map is looking very bare in terms of our team positioning, and now I'm just trying to predict where this Mobat's going to come from. We proxy spot that mobile, I think, there, and we're just going to hope that the mobile pokes out and we get another shot into him. He obliges there, and we manage to get a tracking shot, holding him in place, and we get another shot as he's distracted by our friendly light tank that went round the hard cover, and he's come round in frustration now. To be fair, he couldn't do much else. He was, modules damaged, and he was a one-shot, so fair play for making the push. But that's what this tank's good for. With that really quick reload, you can get your shots in really quickly. You can keep tanks tracked if they haven't got a good commander or they've lost their repair kit, and it's a really good sort of high DPM tank. It's still not as good DPM as the FV214, but you have a quicker reload because of your lower alpha damage. So now we're making a push down here to the sort of middle. Unfortunately, I've made a bit of a mistake here coming out into the open. I'm just trying to make myself as hard of a target as possible by sort of wiggling and hoping that I eat the shot into the tracks, which I did with the FV214, but I didn't with the M60A1. And when I'm here, I'm going to use these ridgelines here to duck inside and get shots into things that are in the south. There's lots of light tanks that I'm able to fire at, and this is where that fantastic shell velocity comes in handy, firing at light tanks and medium tanks on the move at mid to sort of long distances here. And there's no problem with this gun. It's got a fantastic accuracy, fantastic shell velocity, and you fire really quickly, unless you get ammo racked like I just was, and that is a problem that I found. It gets ammo racked quite frequently, so some people, I think I've seen, have used two sort of repair kits. It doesn't take too long to get the repair kit back in, and if you get ammo racked, just make sure you're in cover, try and disengage from the enemy, and keep yourself hidden for that sort of minute or so, and you should be golden. So now we have this nearly full health M60A1 coming after us, and we are only on 485 hit points. Sorry, we're in a bit of a tough predicament here, but I'm just trying to bait this tank round here. I've got a light tank for company, so hopefully if I bait this tank round and get a couple of shots as he comes round the corner, we should be able to lower him enough that our light tank and our heavy tanks that are just behind us to the left will be able to help us take this M60A1 out. So we're getting a shot in and we're rocking back just so our turret's exposed. That's the best way to play this. Obviously you can't rely on the turret like I've said in the first replay, but I'd rather them shooting my turret than shooting my hull, because the hull isn't very good at all, and your turret has the capability to bounce if they miss your cupola or they don't hit a sort of a flatter part of your turret. So now we've dealt with that medium tank, when I pop up on this ridge line and get a shot into the back of the FV214, who's now on a one shot, and our friendly FV214 takes him out. And we've picked up 7.6k damage and 1964 assistance in this game, and now we're going to try and test the accuracy on the move there. Unfortunately we don't get one in, but you saw the accuracy on the move earlier as we fired at the FV214 as we were heading down the eastern sort of flank there. And now it's just the last two enemies on the enemy team left, and we're just going to try and find out where we can get our last little bit of damage from. The Conqueror gets taken out, and it's just this light tank that's left, so we're going to try and get there as quick as possible. And this is the speed with the traction system. As you can see, it's still quite slow. I'm struggling on these hills to get up past 20 kilometers an hour. When we go down slope though, it's a lot better, and I'm hoping to get there as quick as possible. Send a little GG message to the team, and I'm just hoping I can get at least one more damaging shot in. This RDFLT is circling our heavy tank, and fortunately it comes out into our path. We fire on the move, and that's where run and gun comes in helpful. It's a great skill to have, and it means that an already accurate gun is accurate on the move. And then we get a snapshot there, a little auto aim shot to finish off that RDFLT, just ticking over 8k direct damage with 5 kills, another MVP, 2.1k assistance. We get the mastery badge this time, 1830 base experience points, and we make over 300,000 silver again. So I can't sort of say that this is a bad tank. It's still a very good tank. It's very capable. It's actually quite fun. I enjoy it a lot. It's definitely nothing like the FV214, but if you're looking for another sort of Western Alliance iterative heavy tank and you like your British Conquerors, then by all means I can't sort of put you off getting this tank. It's a very good tank. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed our sort of second look at the FV214 Conqueror MK.2, I should say. Until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield, and bye for now.